where we have to discuss, apart from legislations, apart from judgment law, apart from literature on the subject, when we have to evolve or we are evolving in every sphere of life, then we obviously we need some discussions every time. So it's a high time to discuss this topic. And Keshavji, I think let's begin with the topic or not?
Yes, sir. So, sir, with your permission, I'll just introduce you very briefly and I'll hand over
Yes.
the class.
Okay,
So,
okay.
everyone, we welcome you once again to Vestralex free online community classes on law. This is your initiative for you, by you, and possible only through the generous contribution of our seniors, guides, and mentors. Today, we have with us to explore yet again a very interesting topic in a very academic note. We have Dr. Amit Ludri with us. Sir is a former chairman and dean of the Faculty of Law, Kurukshetra University. Sir is also an author and he speaks at a lot of places on a lot of topics considering his academic background. So, a little bit about Professor Ludri, that he is again the former chairperson and the dean of the Faculty of Law, Kurukshetra University. He is presently working as a professor in the Department of Law and having research and legal experience of more than 25 years. So he's an eminent scholar in the field of law. He has completed his LLM in the Right to Information and PhD in the Right to Privacy Act and in the year 2000 and 2004 respectively. He regularly contributes articles in reputed journals and has presented papers on various national and international conferences. He is a legal member at the Animal Welfare Board of India and has served in the advisory and management capacity at renowned educational and social associations. Sir has interestingly, very recently edited a book titled One Nation, One Election on the same topic. His other books are also on human rights, evidence law, personal autonomy. These are globally recognized and these are placed in libraries such as the Library of Congress, USA, Cornell Law Library, and he's a widely respected scholar and resource person. Dr. Ludri has guided PhD and LLM scholars, lectured internationally, and has been honored with awards, including the Hindustan Gaurav Samman in 2016. So, Ludri sir, we very warmly welcome you. And we request you to kindly shed your thoughts and your wisdom on this very unique topic, sir.
Okay, thank you so much, Keshavji, for giving me opportunity to discuss this evolving topic, one nation, one election. As we are aware about this topic, one nation, one election, for someone of us, it may be new one, or we think so that it's a new going to be incepted into the legal framework as well as for the governance of the country. But in fact, it's not a new one. We have to go in the background of this democratic process and election process. Only then we can understand. And everybody is aware, and during your uh, student life, you heard, you listen about the monarchy, about the dictatorships. If we go back and try to trace out the references of our governance in ancient India, medieval India, I'm giving you a very, very, very brief account of this part. That at that time there were kings and talukadars, and the whole Riyasat kingdom was divided into subas. And from subas, representatives came and sit with the king and decide their matters related to governance, including judiciary also at the time. So this is not a new one that we required representatives for the purpose of governance even in the monarchical days. And after evolving on this issue or due to wars imposed on us might be the reason. I'm not stressing on this point that this is the only reason for evolving us to come for election process. No, this might be the reason that with the passage of time, we evolve on democratic setups. And to achieve democracy, worldwide, it took so many centuries that at this juncture we are discussing democratic processes, and we took birth in democratic processes where parliament is already established. Just we can go through the references, or we may presume or assume that what happened in the past in the name of democratic process. Even if you take the example of UK, USA, everywhere, the people fought war to achieve this democratic setup, and only then we think over for the election process. But if we compare the situation with the Indian scenario, always we had representatives from different subas and different portions of the kingdom, and decide, as I stated, decide matters accordingly with the king. And with the advent of time, we grow, we evolve. Then we set up in a very brief manner. Uh, After Hindu, Muslims reign, and then Britishers came. And when Britishers came, they gave us the legal part particularly, and for participation of democracy on the same pattern as happened in UK in 18th century. In 19th century in India, India was a colony of UK. Again, in India, what happened? That people made representations for their participation in governance. Democracy was nowhere, but participation in governance was there. That how to participate in the governance of the country. So many inroads were there at that time on the part of, you say, Indian revolutionists. And then in the year 1861, this India Council Act 1861 and 1892, this Council Act uh, gave some rights for participation in the democracy, limited representations, and members were nominated from different parts of India so that they may participated well in the governance of the country. Very few persons. So that was the story of the representation. You may say not properly initiation of democracy, but some seeds were there at infancy stage that one day we will get this democratic setup, and then what are the essentials of democracy we will get. There was a kind of hope in the mind of Indians. So limited representation was there, and we won this war of with the limited representation. And everybody is aware about Parliamentary reforms, that separate electoral rights were given to Muslims and Hindus, and then in the year 1919 onwards. So very few limited rights were given to Indians on this part, that Indians were given representation, and you may say communal representation. Basically, we must say like this, that on communal representation, India got a few rights so that they might, you may say, they might participate in the governance of with the Britishers. And the effect of this part, that at that time, First World War was over, and democratic we our freedom fighters were uh, fighting for democratic rights, basically, that we want representation, proper representation. And to some extent, the Britishers provided us not proper representation, but communal representation. And after that, we faced Second World War, and on parallel side, communal representation was going on. Even as per the 1935 Act, not proper representations, but communal representation was there. Then Second World War, and after Second World War, we may see we are aware about the results. what happened in the name of communal representations, very, very unfortunate for us. That at one side we may say, if you look the historical events, that on one side we may say that we got representation, we got communal representation. Today we can say like this communal representation, but at that time that was not communal representation. That was a representation of Indians, apart from any religion or any caste. But unfortunately, the country was divided into two parts. And this might be the reason that these representations in democratic setup might be the reason. In my view, that when communal representation run for 20 years and 25 years, then this stage came before us that we were compelled to go for this uh, communal representation. So communal representation, on the basis of communal representation, then Second World War, we got independence, separate countries, and then this, everybody is aware. No doubt, our revolutionists got one point from this representation. They got strength. They got strength that now we are part and parcel of democratic setup to some extent. Even though some of us considered them as communal representatives of a Muslim League or some representatives from Hindu, that was a separate issue. But we got a strength from this for democratic process. And we learned this part that when we are part and parcel of democratic process, so we should participate in election. So after that, we got independence and a new ideology came for individualism, for national freedom. And as we are now free, we have to evolve our own system. So our own system of election by virtue of Election Commission of India, constitutional body, we all are aware. So many things were incorporated under the Constitution of India by our forefathers in the name of election process. Everybody knows separate entity, separate body, federal structure, state assemblies, state assemblies, and then Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, everything was established properly. Now, our concern is here to discuss that in the name of election, what happened in the past and what implications we are facing now. That somewhere we achieved to some extent democratic setup properly from representations of few persons of locality, sorry, of caste, creed, or religion. We reached here that now everyone is a representative for any elected government or sorry, not elected government, elected legislatures and MPs, MLAs, MLCs. Everybody is participating now. And when everybody is participating, in the last 75 years, what we faced and what we are facing, there is a need to have a relook on this part so that we may give proper suggestions and proper our views in the light of legal provisions, in the light of formation of formation of governments at state and central level in the last 75 years. And this topic is of utmost importance today when we are you may say going with the, you may say, economic, not crisis, but somewhere economic part is affected. I am not economist. I don't know ABC of economics, frankly speaking, but I can understand one part that somewhere in crores, 1,000 crores, 1,000 in lakhs, sorry, in data of 50,000 crores, 1 lakh crore spent on elections like this. This data is with us from different, you may say, news items or from different agencies that this money is spent on elections. We have to be very careful on this part because when first elections were conducted by the election commission, as per the data, 11 crores of rupees were spent on this election process. If we compare with 2024, the figure reached up to 1 lakh crore. Now, from where this figure came, including the expenditure of political parties or alone government, not obviously not alone government, but maybe including political parties or like these other sources, because election is now a uh, very important for all of us as everybody is uh, participating above 18 years of age, male, females, everybody is participating. But we have to think again that why we are discussing this issue of one nation, one election. It's not a topic, it's not a concept, it's not a political view, it is not a view that we are just saying on the basis of taking some data of comparative view of different countries. No, we are not concerned with comparative view. We are not concerned with the political views. We are not concerned with any legal provision. But we are concerned with only one thing: our wastage of time and our wastage of money. That is too important for the every citizen of India. That is important. That's why we are discussing and stressing on one nation, one election. No doubt, some demerits are also there. We will take up one by one. So, as I stated, that this part is not new novice for us. And if we trace out the references, young generation will find in the past from 1951, everybody knows now, to 67, 1967, 3 terms, elections were conducted simultaneously. And when elections were conducted simultaneously, there was no issue of separate elections of different, you may say, at different stages, say municipal elections, panchayat elections, Vidhan Sabha elections, Lok Sabha elections. At that time, that was not an issue. Nobody was aware that this may happen one day. That after 1967, 69, then everything was changed. And in the name of elections, separate elections were conducted, everybody is aware. And with the passage of time after 1980s, particularly after 1989, you may say till date, this practice is going on that every time, every month you hear about the elections, that elections are going on in this state, uh, now municipal elections, now uh, panchayat elections for better governance like this. As earlier I stated that no doubt that we are doing everything in the name of governance and we achieved very good democratic process in our country, no doubt. That's our achievement of last 75 years. But what is the compulsion on us to think on this part today and to discuss? It's a burning topic. Why it is burning? I have few points. That's why this part is very important for all of us. 2019 election, 2019 and 2014, 50,000 crores and then 1 lakh crore in the last election we spent. Okay, it's the financial part, money part. And Niti Aayog also mentioned this part in report of 2018 that expenditure incurred on elections. That is a financial part. More important part is that in the last 10 years, 11 years, particularly up to 2024, 676 days, almost 2 years, there was a model code of conduct. And the average of this model of conduct, 2 months in a year, that is equally too important and more valuable than your financial part. 676 days in 10 years, 2 months average per year. Now I think you are compelled to think over this on this issue. Why? And you will be definitely. That when for 2 months there is a model code of conduct, maybe in state, at central, even though central, sorry, Lok Sabha elections and Vidhan Sabha elections, including municipal or panchayats, everything, every election, every work is affected, particularly policy matters, maybe transfer, maybe promotions, maybe appointments, maybe tenders, opening of tenders, contracts, relation with other countries, dignitaries going for visit, dignitaries coming to India. So many issues are there. And I am stressing on 2 points. I am not stressing on legal provisions because legally we may manage the legal provisions by amending or by deleting. That is not a big issue, but the big issue is financial part and time. Why time? Why this time? Because time is so precious. Take example of opening of tender. Restraint might be due to election process, promotion of someone, purchasing of some new items. Your national growth is affected and compromised. Your growth of state is compromised. Your governance factor is compromised. And manual part, your officers put on, maybe might be on different trainings during the period. As a teacher, I am telling you, uh, teaching is affected, career of students is affected, so many things which are affected by model code of conduct. That's a constitutional compulsion. When we are going for some election process, we have to follow the procedure. So model code of conduct is not bad in law, but I'm telling you the impact and effects, that how many of us affected from the model code of conduct. Of conduct is very important. And when this model of code of conduct is only meant for few days in a year, then you may compare the situation. If we compare this situation with cost factor is equally important. Why I am mentioning cost factor? Because some data are available that uh, this amount spent on election process time to time may affect our GDP also. And this GDP may be affect your 1% to 1.5% part. That's why this part is very important, because every time you are spending money on elections and election, every time elections are going on. And the last 30 years, if you compare the situation of 30 years, you will find every month there is an election, every month. So this part is, we have to discuss this part properly again and again. It is immaterial whether bill has been passed or not. That is a different, that is a process we have to adopt. That is a different part. We are not concerned with that part, but we are concerned with the issues as a layman or as a simple citizen of India. And I think so that every one of us think about the financial part as well as the model code of conduct, because everything is affected. You name the thing, I will tell you that this is affected by MCC model code of conduct. And citizens has to face hardships, any kind of hardship. You are away from the routine process or routine life during election procedure, and say manual power, say mobilization of forces, or BSF and CRPF jawans and other jawans deputed on duties, election duties, in the phased manner. No doubt, they have to be in every election. If simultaneous elections are implemented, that will be there, no doubt. But maybe once in 5 years, or maybe say, you may say twice in 5 years. But here we are repeating the process. We may save them. And say our soldiers, sorry, jawans from casualties. Communal tensions, another area, aggravated maybe during elections in some areas. This may be controlled and regulated. If happened, say, within 2 3 years, when this is happening in 6 months or 4 months, that it is too difficult to handle them, these type of problems. So these are some gray areas where we may think on the issue of this one nation, one election. We have divergent views also, threats also, apprehensions also. I will take up those apprehensions and threats also. Here we are not on one side of this one nation, one election, or we are not against and we are not in favor. Just we are discussing that what may be the reasons for implementation of this and why this part is not implemented till date. There may be threats and apprehensions in the minds of, same with us, like citizens like us, or maybe with the officials or with the leaderships of different political parties. Maximum political parties, maximum, I think we have a figure of 47, 32. That 32 are in favor of one nation, one election among 47 regional parties and central parties. This is what I stated. I stated for a common man without considering any legal part, that these are the reasons where everybody says yes, that this money is spent on this election every year, in some areas every month. Citizens are affected, rights are affected, facilities provided by the state also equally affected, policies affected. dream projects of the state, sometimes affected or partially implemented by one party, then one government, and then another party came into power, then affected. So many things are affected. That's why, that's the reason. Now, what are the threats, apprehensions for implementation of one nation, one election? If you search out the net, you will find out at number one, federal structure. Now, what is federal structure? Those who are from legal fraternity, they are aware about the what is federal structure. That states are there, formation of governments at state level and central level. That is the election process. That's not a federal part. Federal part may be affected on some agendas, issues. To some extent, few of us agreed on this, that when we go for one nation, one election, federal structure may be affected. Now, this part, this whether federal structure is affected or not, may be a kind of apprehension. Now, cross question may be there, that when you are saying like this, that may be an apprehension in the minds that federal structure may be affected. Then counter argument is there that when we implement one nation, one election, then how we can say that will be fruitful for all of us? Yes, the reason is, if we compare, because different elections at different levels we faced already the last 50 years after 67, we faced and we are facing. We spent so much money on this election procedures. We have data, we have if and buts. But in case of federal structure apprehension, the destruction of federal structure, it's merely apprehension presently. The reason is that after when we implement this, maybe after 10 years, 15 years, we have to think again on this part. That may be a proper apprehension in the minds. But today it is wrong to say that this is the only reason that we are not going to implement federal structure, destruction due to destruction of federal structure. That's not the point. The point is only one. Today, we have two areas. I am stressing again and again on two areas. First is cost factor, and second is model code of conduct, which affect the rights and the development of the country and the state. That's it. That is about federal structure. Everybody is aware how federal structure works, how different government of state works apart from party politics. That is a different issue. Second is, which is legal part and debatable. Most important, basic structure theory. We have judgments, as a Bomoi case, Keshavanand Bharati case, and some of us argue like this, that if we change the election process, one nation, one election, then there might be violation of basic structure. Very debatable. On one side, there is, suppose we say, we presume like this, that there is violation of basic structure theories. Suppose we presume like this. On the other hand, we have number of days which we are wasting in the name of governance and money spent on election process by the Election Commission of India. These two counter arguments, if we presume like this, I am saying that there is a base violation of basic structure theory, then we have to consider also these two areas where we are most affected. Our GDP is affected. What is going on? No doubt, as I stated that 50,000 lakhs crore rupees, 1 lakh crore rupees, like this, we are giving the data. When the money is circulated, maybe in the election name or maybe in another name, maybe for commercial activity, maybe you may name anything, that will multiply, no doubt. People will get the work. Or maybe black money, white money come into the houses of some one of us and we spend lavishly, and that is another area of discussion. Whether there is an economic growth or not, again debatable part. But the main reason here, which I wish to cite, that when we go with this money for national development, for building structures, to frame policies, for employments, for defense, obviously we will grow, no doubt. So basic structure theory since 1973, we are discussing on this issue. When any controversy on this, we again discuss from 1973, because we consider Keshwaran Bharti case as a benchmark, and then IR Koilio case as a benchmark to discuss these issue basic structure theory. Basic structure theory consists so many areas. Not alone election process is not going to affect basic structure, or may affect, as I stated, in case of federal structure, that after 10 years we may uh, judge on this part that whether we lose or we got something in favor of nations. So these areas are, I'm not saying weak areas, maybe these may be strong areas, but today it is not uh, wise to comment on this, that federal structure may be affected, basic structure may be affected. We may revise legally. We may revise legally. We may we may amend constitution accordingly without changing other aspects of basic structure. Maybe rights, maybe freedoms, maybe liberties. Or this may be overcome by phased manner election, maybe pilot study may be done to implement this part. So these are few areas where we may consider it appropriate, that how this part. Another area is premature dissolution of houses. That is again very important, because somewhere we have to, where dissolution is a necessity, or say something happened where in the past we have so many examples and of constitutional failure of machinery, and when we impose any, you may say, uh, emergency provisions 356 is very important to discuss here, because that may affect the governance of the state, or sometimes political parties don't agree on this part. So we have so many areas where we have to discuss this part uh, as a apprehension or as a threat for us. Then another area argument, that at this level, when we are evolving, harsh procedure we have to follow for constitutional amendments and uh, amending the relevant provisions of Representation of People's Act, as law commission already recommended some amendments in this. There's a harsh procedure, no doubt. And to overcome this harsh procedure, we have some suggestions for this overcome, some threats and apprehensions, how we may come for these apprehensions for the implementation of one nation, one election. We are not in hurry, and we should not be in hurry. We should discuss each and every part, because one part is very important component, legal part, and we are saying that there is a harsh procedure to amend the constitutional provisions, and as well as at some places legislations we have to amend with time. So how to consider this part? Because here now we are not, as I stated, that we are in between these two areas for implementation and not to implement. These are another areas of discussion. Maybe some political views are there. But at this stage, when we have to think again, then, oh, there is a harsh procedure to implement, and we have to come for common consensus. Yes, so few suggestions, few things which we may consider as a layman, that there should be a consensus of all of us. It would be better for all of us, including citizens, political parties, that we should consensus on this part before implementation. Second is, when we have a common consensus, then we can go for easily we can go for implementation procedure. So political consensus on this issue, political will of all political parties, very important, and we should not left anyone out of the game. No, we should common consensus of every citizen, including male, females, adults, every old man's, that this is our for all of us, that for nation building and uh, for our growth, for our employment, our better living. These are the gray areas we have to think. Another is constitutional amendments. The same with the political, when consensus is there, there is no problem. For then this harsh procedure become flexible procedure when everybody is ready for the implementation of this one nation, one election. Then another area is to build up economic structure. How? That by saving money, we can go for better GDP. GDP for gross development for all of us. That will be helpful for us, because in news items we listen that GDP, this GDP is there, this country having this GDP. So we have to think again on these issues, and try to implement this part. If we are not agree on this part, let us go for pilot implementation. Pilot, just say, like we go for pilot study of projects, and before implementation of any policy, we may go for pilot implementation by considering one state or two state or one area for simultaneous election. We may think on these issues also, and if not possible, then for this one in different phase for simultaneous elections, by choosing the areas that this is now come for simultaneous, then next time this, without declaration of any result of any state or any center, within 15 days we may go for uh, phased manner elections, three phase, and without declaration of any result of anything. This will save money, this will save uh, black money, this will save, sorry, money, this will save mobilization of goons, mobilization of forces, mobilization of supporters, because everybody is busy in his or her constituency. That is very important for better governance and better democratic setup. So these are few things apart from any legal provisions, because to come with legal provisions, we are just teaching a class. Here we are discussing, and the views and others may come up for discussion on this area, that we are not affecting anyone. We are not, well, we are just thinking as a teacher, we are thinking on the concept. Sometimes concepts are very important for all of us. And that's why I'm very thankful to you, thankful to all of you, thankful to uh, Keshavji, who gave me this opportunity. I have also edited a book on One Nation, One Election, and our researchers, my colleagues of Kurukshetra University, Department of Law, Institute of Law, some from political Department of Political Science, research scholars contributed chapters in this book, their views with data and with meticulous planning. They have written chapters, comprehensive book on One Nation, One Election, without considering any event part. Just they worked or research work on One Nation, One Election. So think over it. It's not a time to say simply that go and implement. No, think over it again and again, considering these issues, what I stated, because money matters, finance matters for the growth of nation. And in the present scenarios, when we require everything, oil and some things which we are not producing. We require money, particularly for development, for medical facilities, for your road facilities, for your train facilities. Every kind of facilities provided by the state requires money. So if you save money on this pretext, really good for all of us. So with these words, I think now there's a time to be there. Thank you so much to listen me. If anybody wish to discuss any issue or come for suggestions or come with in a better mode, may come up. So thank you so much.
So thank you so much, sir. It's been a very enlightening session, and it reflects the kind of effort that would have gone into your book also. So, sir, deepest gratitude to you, first of all, for always and continuing to enlighten us to thick and thin and on these very unique topics. Also, I just want to mention to everyone that previously the class that sir had done with us, that was also on a very unique topic called the unwritten constitution. So, yes, ma'am, thank you so much. But irrespective of, we also have a few questions for sir.
Yes,
And
yes.
sir, so there is this. So first of all, I'll start in lighter vein. That there is this thought and this idea which goes about that in India the biggest festival is democracy through
Yes.
election is celebrated throughout the year. So that was just in lighter vein. But so also, most humbly, I request you to share just one particular thought of yours, your personal opinion. That is this something, the concept of one nation, one election. Obviously, you very elaborately and eloquently elaborated on all the facets of it, the positives as well as the negatives of it, and given us a holistic academic perspective of it. But in your academic wisdom, do you think that it would be something which would be easy to implement in India and advantageous?
We are, Keshavji, we are evolving in this area basically. What we are facing, and we are very, we are not against the election process. That is a good process. What we are following since 1951, no doubt, it's a good process. And in the name of election, in the name of democracy, our forefathers put hard work to achieve this. As I gave you references that not in a year or 10 years we got this democratic process. It took centuries to come here and got this democratic process. Our forefathers, if you remember, movement, freedom movement, quit India movement, like this movement, for what? For proper representation. Proper representation means that we are going to achieve democratic process. And our framers of constitution also put this in the very preamble. So democracy was our dream. I'm telling you about 1940s, 30s and 40s. The democracy, to achieve democracy was our dream. And this is the outcome. We are not we are not losers in this area. We achieved a lot and we are achieving, evolving. We are just change the mode of election. We are thinking over it just to save our money. It's very simple that at home, when you are at home with your mother and father, when you have to save money, what would they suggest you? That please don't spend extra money on this area. And you have to purchase books, you have to purchase tuition fees and other uh, other things you have to be there you have to spend on that. So that's why don't spend extra money on your roaming or on your petrol and other aspects. That's simply the same thing. We are just discussing here that how we can save money, because money is very important for all of us, for growth and for employment generation and everything, every facilities. We have to provide pay scales to the employees. We have to provide to every facility to our defense, everything. We have to construct airports, bus stands, railways, hospitals. From where? When we have shortage of or money or finance, then how we can save and how we can frame policies and other things. That's not issue of any political party or not issue of 1 or 2%. It's a collective responsibility for all of us to think on this. Or I am again saying that suggest any other mode or method by which we can save more money. The process is same, no doubt. Chalta rahe ye process. We have no problem from this process. And we are not in favor or we are not against. But if we save money from this process, go ahead with digital voting. There is no spent of money and this. No need. Just press your button on mobile. But for that purpose, we have to evolve in a different manner. Everybody having no mobile. If everybody having mobile, then we can click that part. So we have to evolve, and one day will come that we have to go for voting with mobiles, sitting at homes and just press the button and your vote is registered. That is equally important for all of us to save more money. Forget about one nation, one election. If we follow the digitalization and this part and click the button, then that equally important. So democracy, first we achieved democracy and we are reached here, say take example of Sweden or Japan, Germany. They are now moving for simultaneous elections. They are conducting. And they will come, they will go next step further. They go for digitalization for voting by mobile or electronic, any gadget. Then that
So,
may
so,
also be happen.
so somehow I feel that if voting starts happening through the phone, then
Yes.
probably if in 150 crore population, then maybe 200 crore votes may be cast.
No, that's not a problem of digitalization. The problem is that everybody having mobile or everybody can operate mobile or not. That is, I think we are lagging behind. Otherwise, in some societies that is equally important. Say, I am giving you example. You are living in a flat, suppose, and there are 500 members in a society. We can easily conduct election or not on mobile. Yes,
Of course, sir, figuratively, absolutely agree with you.
because everybody having mobile there, one representative from one family can cast vote. Yes, I am giving vote to this. Huh? So that
But sir,
will also
even
happen.
sir, I believe, so again, it's just a question. We'll just take Dr. S. Gokul Raj sir's question immediately after this. So I was just saying that sir, the
Yes.
technology, I understand that eventually people will get to learn and they will get to do better with technology. But as of right now, I see so many of our participants who only during every single class, they're unable to properly access the class. So I don't know, of course, and I hope and I look forward to all constructive things happening in the celebration of democracy. But at the same time, so I think that's my thoughts. But Dr. Gokul sir, request you to kindly take your question up now.
I have question. I think yes, Professor mentioned Bharat is built on democratic principles and it is there for more than 1,000 years. In
ये
Bharat,
दरवाजा बंद कर दे, एसी का असर ही नहीं हो रहा बेटा.
yes, Am I
Also, that is
audible properly? Am I audible?
yes, sir,
Yes.
yes, sir.
Yes, it's
Malik
okay.
ma'am, welcome, sir.
I am going
So
through the question raised by
I'll
Dr.
make it
Gokul
address.
Raj. In Bharat, in Tamil Nadu, voting system was there. Yes.
Correct, sir. It is not a
Uh,
question, sir.
temples, temple
Good evening,
historical
sir.
evidence is in stone, which is nearly from China. Yes, yes, sir. Yes.
Good evening, Professor. It is not a question. You said about the election process. Of course, you mentioned that it is there in Indian system for more than many years. Of course, in Tamil Nadu also it is there. That's a good system, sir. That is what I mean. It's not a question. Just I want to share that information
Yes, yes,
regarding.
we had old references. We are evolving and we are for betterment. We are discussing this part for the betterment. And if it's up to the mark that someday we realize this, that yes, we became extravagant on this part and we are spending more money and more money on this. We are taxpayers and then we have to think again and again on this part. Well, day will come, then we have to go for digitalization if we evolve properly and maintaining the standards of democracy. That's equally important. We are working on this and on some apprehensions and on these threats and destruction of federal structure or the basic structure. Then we have to think again and discuss these issues again and again, even in the JPC or even at the implementation level. So any other question, any other thing you wish to add or ask? We
Thank
are
you so much,
here.
Gokul.
Yes,
And
yes,
sir, also think Malik ma'am had something to say. Malik ma'am, am I audible?
yes.
I can hear everything, but sorry, I joined so late कि मेरे को तो I could not make out कि what was the initial things going on. If I interrupt in between, let it be like this.
Ma'am, I will
Okay.
share with you. I will share with you the
Yeah,
meeting.
please tell me later on. I can send
Also.
my queries. I can send my queries later on.
Okay.
Absolutely. Malik ma'am is also a law teacher. She is also one of our, how do I say, our mentors, our guides. She's been fundamental and instrumental to helping us, supporting us, to motivating us, inspiring us. So she's one of the, how do I say, chief mentors of
God
Vestralex.
bless you. Bas, enough. God bless you.
Okay, okay.
And
So,
ma'am,
madam is from which university or co?
I'm in MIT Law University, sir.
Okay, Amity. Okay, from. That's good.
Actually,
Great.
I had been teaching in a school, DPS, for 31
Okay,
years. Then later on,
okay.
I became vice principal and in the college.
That's
So
good.
my it's all, you can say both the things are there, teaching college and school.
Great. Good experience.
Like my experience is totally different from you, sir.
No,
Totally. You
today we
people,
are discussing not legal topic, that is for all. That
no,
is
I
not.
understand. Yes.
So some important aspects we touch and we discuss on that part.
Yeah, lot of changes are required in our country. Otherwise, it's the best country which is
In the
being,
world, best
yeah,
country.
in the world, everywhere, in
Everything is best. Just it's
uh,
better to discuss and better to
yes,
implement
sir.
the good
In
things and
every level of this thing, maybe politics, maybe advancement, maybe anything. But the thing is,
yes,
there is lot of scope for improvement. Lot
yes,
of, isn't it, Keshav?
yes.
You know?
absolutely.
Okay, thanks to
Very,
all. Thanks to Keshav ji.
thank you, sir.
Gratitude,
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
sir. Gratitude to everyone who has joined us. Gratitude to all of our guides and mentors who have helped us be here today. And sir, deepest gratitude to you, Ludri sir, for taking us through so wonderfully in this very unique topic. And I'm sure that in the times to come, when whenever this conversation will be brought up again, at that point of time,
Yeah, I
this.
would like to really join. I would. This
So,
democracy is my favorite subject, you know.
ma'am, since your class also happened, and ma'am, sirs also. So,
Yeah, sir ko bhi, I'll tell him that it was very good class, but I could not make out the whole thing. Na, I couldn't make out.
Thank you.
so
Thank you so much. Thank you, Keshav.
God bless
opportunity
you,
that
sir. Sir, God bless you.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Jeete
make
raho.
this humble introduction also. Malik ma'am and Honorable Justice J.M. Malik sir. So they have been, how do I say, they've been like grandparents to all of us students
Thank you.
of
Yes.
law
Yes,
initiative.
yes. Always, always. Good blessings for you all.
It's been, how do I say, most valuable. And so we're able to do this. We started this and we're continuing this. And we hope
Yeah,
that
I gave one lecture, one class was by me also. I know, I remember.
it is trending again now.
Yeah.
So with that, ma'am and sir, we've started doing this very unique thing also. So through you, I will want to inaugurate this. So largely, we are also promoting the State Legal Services Authority. Since
Oh,
we do it free, there are a lot of people who start asking us only for to do their cases for free. So we do our bit of pro bono work. But if you
yes.
have any legal problems or queries, then please reach out to, I'm telling you phone numbers, 15100 and 1516. These are for the Delhi State Legal Services Authority. You can reach out to them. There's a number for the National State Legal Services Authority also. So
Okay.
if you have thoughts,
I would love
ideas,
to. I would love to join all this. But no, I'll be more active.
gratitude, ma'am, gratitude.
Okay,
So
good.
deepest gratitude to you, Amit sir. And thank you so much to everyone who's participated. And we hope that anyone who's joined us online would have more to learn from this. And the references will obviously be most relevant. So at the same time, we wish you a wonderful day ahead. And Jai Bharat Mata ki and
And Durga
India Jai.
Mata ki. And Jai Durga Mata ki.
Mata ki to everyone. Happy Navratri.
Happy
And
Navratri.
Kina Bhavantu.
Okay. Okay, better. Bye.
Everyone the best. Amit sir, do we have the permission to end the class? All right. All right. So, guys, thank you so much to everyone, and we wish you a wonderful time ahead. Thank you.
Same to you. Okay.